Good morning and welcome to this morning's reflection. Let's just take a moment to be still and just come into the faithful presence of our loving Father. And we just allow God to pour His loving light and His abundant hope into our hearts. To grow spiritually, we have to get ourselves out of the way, to get our goals, our habits, and our anxieties out of the way. In order to prevent disaster in our lives, we try so hard to control everything. We try to order our days. We try to find purpose and meaning in all we do. Yet, despite all our attempts to control everything, life unravels and goes in directions we had not anticipated. When life does not go according to our plan, well, we tend to complain. Thomas Moore suggests that we should not do that. Hard to do, but he suggests that we should not. But that we should go with the difficulty and be educated by it. Don't run away from the reality of what is. Don't run away from the reality of what is. Don't try to rewrite loss into victory. Loss is loss. Well, let it be loss. When we face difficulty, it does its work in us. And this is the work of God. Slowly but surely, the self is surrendered to God. And we discover that the self has no role in finding happiness and fulfillment. And we do not have to be somebody special or successful in order to be content. If we become too full of ourselves, we become defensive. And we use this defensiveness to keep God and His work in our lives at bay. When Jesus came to earth, He emptied Himself, and we need to do the same. And as we do this, we find ourselves becoming sharper and our vision calmer and clearer. The more we know we do not know. And this is a profoundly humbling experience. Emptying of the self can be threatening. We feel inadequate about our knowledge, and we may rush to fill the gap with excessive information. We try hard to prove what is beyond verification. And we think our salvation lies in our ability to prove God through verifiable facts. But in the long run, we do not live by facts. We live by faith. We live by belief and imagination. We have to be willing to free fall into a life made up of mysteries rather than facts. We fall into an awareness of God, and when we do, we are often open to a radical change of life. We might leave our particular job, or change our relationships, or start afresh somewhere else. We tend to focus on what is of real value in our lives, once we fall into an awareness of God. We find renewed hope and a freedom from the anxiety of always having to be in control. Some people run from Jesus because they cannot give up control of their lives. We need to tread more lightly on the earth, to be more hollow than solid, to trust more. Defensiveness tells us what we want by pointing indirectly to what we fear most and what we therefore obstruct. Let the defensiveness within you dissolve, and if you do that, you are left with your soul's desire. You are left with your deepest longing. These longings tell us about life and about God, and what life could look like without our getting in the way. The life of the soul is rich and full, but always unpredictable. But it is never easy to trust the life that keeps pouring into us. We always think we know better, and this leads to avoidance, to worry, and to moralism. It seems easier to give up on life than to let life have its way with us. When we are surrendered, we tend to be natural and without effort and pride. But we need to make sure we don't make surrender of self a project that we strive toward. But rather we have to simply know that there is nothing we can do. The surrender of self is an act of God. We simply have to be present to His overwhelming love, compassion, kindness, and direction. And so today, don't try to do anything, but simply be present to the one who loves you. Amen.